Miss A, and I have the second half of our science study guide for our test, which is for tomorrow, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, Plants and Animal Life Cycles. So this is Chapter 2, Animal Life Cycles. All right, first things we need to know is that animal life cycles, what that means is from birth to death and everything that happens in between. And that might be the stages or the views. And we talked about as humans, and I'm going to just show our notes from the other day. As humans, this is kind of what we go through. We start off in the mom's belly. My friend Naima, she shared that information with me yesterday. And then we go to a baby. And a baby is just a really little human with no hair that just poops and pees a lot. And then we go to a toddler. We look slightly different in the fact that we now walk and we make noises and talk, and we probably have a little small ponytail with a few little hairs. And then we become children, still looking the same. We have a little more hair, but we just look like bigger versions of what we did previously. And then we go to a preteen or a teenager, and that's when kids become brats, but we have more hair and we're bigger. And then we come to the point where we stop growing. We come to the point where we stop growing as an adult. This is the longest point in our lifespan is as an adult. And then we go to aging, and we end up where we are now. Basically, the only difference is we are bigger than we were as a baby, but we are still bald and poop and pee a lot. And then eventually we die. Excuse me. So that was the example we did for humans. Humans have a life cycle. They do not go through metamorphosis. The thing with life cycles is that the babies resemble means that they look like the parent. The babies resemble their parents. So in life cycles, they resemble the parents. And we saw that with our human life cycle. A baby dolphin comes out, it's alive, and they're live births. That's really important, that they are live births. So the baby dolphin comes out, and it's just a small version of the adult. The next thing that the kids really need to know is metamorphosis. The kids really need to read these pages and understand it. It is a big tested standard, not only in fourth grade at our end of the year test, but also for fifth grade FCAT testing. They really focus on metamorphosis. And I am going to put the pages up there so that we could see them. I have to move this over just slightly here. So metamorphosis starts off with some kinds of animals, such as amphibians and insects. So their egg-laying animals, amphibians and insects, go through metamorphosis during their life cycles. Metamorphosis is a series of major changes in an animal's body from when it moves through the life cycle. So the reason humans don't go through metamorphosis is that our body changes are very minimal. Yeah, we grow bigger, we add hair, we start talking, we start walking, but that's basically it. The baby really looks like the old person, pretty much even the same size. Complete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis, insects with 4 life cycle stages undergo complete metamorphosis. Find the egg stage of the Luna moth in the diagram. Trace the Luna moth's life cycle with your fingers. So here we have the egg stage, and it says about 2 weeks we get the larva stage, or what kids call the caterpillar. And then it takes about a month, and we go to the pupa stage. And then it takes about 2 weeks for us to have the adult. And then about 4 weeks later, the Luna moth is able to reproduce, to become a member of society. So that is the first page where we talk about complete metamorphosis. On page 55, it talks about the different stages and how these stages compare. The larva stage and the pupa stage, they do not resemble each other at all. And that's significantly important in this situation to understand complete metamorphosis. The tiny eggs hatch into the caterpillars, which are the larvae. In the larva stage, the young insect is in the body form that is very different, and that's important, very different from the adult. Next, the insect enters the pupa stage. The pupa is the stage in which the body form changes from the larva to the adult. During this stage, when the metamorphosis is finished, the adult breaks out of its cocoon. In the adult stage, the Luna moth lives just enough time to lay eggs. And then the next page, because we do need to know all those, we talk about incomplete metamorphosis. Incomplete metamorphosis, some animals such as the praying mantis go through metamorphosis in a 3-stage life cycle. This is called incomplete metamorphosis. The 3 stages are egg, nymph, and adult. A nymph in the stage is a complete metamorphosis in which the young animal looks like the adult but may have some features such as wings, may not have some features. So it resembles the adult, but there's some differences. Praying mantis eggs soon hatch into the nymph stage. Over time, the nymph grows longer and larger and becomes an adult. The life cycle of a praying mantis is very different from a Luna moth. The important difference is during complete metamorphosis, the larva totally changes during the pupa stage. But in incomplete metamorphosis, the young praying mantis looks very much like the adult. They will have a test question on this, just so you know. The nymph grows larger and its body form changes very little, but it does not grow wings until it is just ready to change to an adult, and here's the image. So here we have the egg. About 3 weeks, it goes to the nymph, and when they say it resembles, yes, this is orange and this is green, but it has legs, it has a tail, it has a head, it has legs, it has a tail, it has a head, it has a body. About 6 months, so it's in the nymph stage. It molts during that time into the nymph stage, and then eventually will become the adult where it adds the wings and gets its full color. And then it's about 6 more months before the adult will start laying its eggs. So I'm going to write this here, the difference, complete. Let me move this over here, and incomplete. Complete has 4 stages. And the stages look very different. Look very different. This is important. Incomplete, 3 stages, and they resemble. They look similar. And then we have the example. We had an egg, which goes to the larva. And then it goes to the pupa, which is the chrysalis. And then it goes to an adult. That's for, I spelled adult wrong. ADULT. That's for complete metamorphosis. Incomplete, we have the egg. So the similarities, they both start off with eggs. It goes to the nymph, which is the young adult, and then it goes to the adult. So they need to know that both start with an egg, both end with an adult. This one, each stage looks very different. This one, the adult and the teenage stage basically resemble each other. The last thing that we need to know and then we also need to know that nymphs is when they molt. So molting only happens in incomplete metamorphosis, and it happens during the teenage stage. Just how teenagers get pimples and, grow weird hairs and have funky smells, it's the same thing for the nymph. The nymph changes and it has to shed its funky skin. That's how I tell the kids to remember it. So now we have traits, and that's the last thing we need to learn. We have 3 types. We have inherited, which is passed from your parents. We have acquired, which is a change from the environment. And we have learned traits, which are behavioral and learned. So we have these traits. Inherited, you're born with it. Acquired, it's a change due to something that happened in the environment, and learned is behavioral. So here's an example. I told the children that my eye shape I inherited from my parents. My dad gave me, and I have very slender eyes. So that's my eye shape was inherited from my dad. Acquired. Miss Angelo was in a really bad car accident. They had to do some work on my back. So the issue with my back is acquired because of a car accident. So it's a change due to an event. And then the children know that when Miss Angelo says champs, they know that conversation level is to go completely to 0. That is a behavioral change. They learned it, and that's how they deal with it. All right, so quickly, I just want to go over how I would answer these questions. And I actually answered a couple of them already. So Miss Angela looked at the first question here, and it says, based on a tree's environment, it is an acquired certain trait over time. What is an acquired trait? So I used my textbook. I found acquired trait in my textbook. An acquired trait is a change due to the environment. See, that's why we reread. And then the next part says, give an example of an acquired trait of a tree. An example of acquired trait of a tree is a small plant growth due to few nutrients in a soil. So the size of a plant, if it doesn't get enough sun, it will be smaller than one that gets enough sun. Leaves turning yellow is an acquired trait because it's not getting enough water. So that's how they would work on this review. I hope this review helps. The test is tomorrow. Again, it is 15 multiple choice questions. I hope everybody uses this and it helps them out. And also, please subscribe to my friend Yamari's YouTube page. Thanks.